I stood on the cracked porch and whispered, "I'm home," even though no one answered. I knocked once, then again. The door opened a few inches, and my mother stared at me like I was selling something. "Yes, me." I said, "Mom." She frowned. "Do I know you?" That question hit harder than anything I faced overseas. "It's me," I repeated, "your son." She shook her head slowly. "My son is gone." "I'm not," I said. "I'm right here."
She
Glanced behind her, nervous. "Mark," she called. "There's a man at the door." Voice snapped back. "Tell him to leave." I stepped closer. "Linda, please." "Look at me," her hands trembled. "You shouldn't say that name." Footsteps came fast. Mark appeared, tall, stiff, annoyed. "What's going on?" "This guy keeps insisting I'm not a guy," I said. "I'm your stepson," Mark laughed once. "That's not funny." "I wasn't trying to be." He looked me up and down. "You look homeless." "I just got back." "Where, the army?" Silence stretched. Ethan walked into the hall. He stared at me. "Mom, that's him," I said. "Ethan, it's me." He squinted. "My brother was taller." I said. "Before." Claire appeared behind him. She froze when she saw my face. Her lips parted, then closed. "Claire," I said softly. She looked away. Mark crossed his arms. "You need to leave." "Why?" I asked. "You're trespassing. This is my house." "It's our house," he corrected. Linda whispered. "Mark, maybe no," he snapped. "We don't need this." I swallowed. "Need what?" "Me," Ethan shifted. "Dad, he knows our names." "So do stalkers," Mark said. Claire whispered. "He has the scar." Linda gasped. I said, "You remember that bike accident?" Her eyes filled. "Stop." "You held my hand in the hospital," I said. "You cried more than I did," Mark pointed at the street. "Last warning." I asked quietly, "Why did you tell people I was missing?" Linda flinched. Ethan said, "What?" I kept my voice calm. I heard it. The benefits. The checks. Mark's jaw tightened. "You don't know anything." "I know you moved on," I said, without burying me. Linda whispered. "We thought you were dead?" "You thought," I said, "or you hoped?" She started crying. "I couldn't wait anymore," Claire whispered. I told them to stop. Mark snapped, "Enough." I nodded. "That's all I needed." Ethan asked, "Are you really?" "I am," I said. He looked sick. I stepped back, but I didn't leave yet. I heard them talking inside while I stood just out of sight. Mark said, "This is a problem?" Linda cried. "What do we do?" "You can't prove anything," Mark said. Claire said he's alive. "That should matter?" Ethan whispered, "Dad, we took money. That money kept this family standing." Mark said. I closed my eyes. Every word felt planned. Linda sobbed. "They'll ask questions." "They already did," Mark said. "I handled it." Claire said. "You lied." Mark snapped. "I protected us." I stepped forward again. "Shh." "From who?" They jumped. Mark said, "You were listening?" "I didn't have to," I said. "You said it out loud." Linda whispered, "Please don't ruin us." I asked, "Did you miss me?" No one answered. Ethan finally said, "I didn't know what to believe." "That's fair," I said. Claire whispered, "I'm sorry."
I
Nodded once. Mark said, "This conversation is over." I agreed. It ended years ago. I stepped back onto the porch. Linda reached out. "Please." I shook my head. "You already said goodbye." Mark watched silently as I walked away. My legs hurt, but my back stayed straight. I didn't look back. I counted each step like a drill. I had survived worse. Still, as the door closed, something inside me finally broke, quietly, without a sound. I paused at the gate, then turned back.
What?
"One more thing." Mark sighed. "What?" "Now, when did you stop waiting?" I asked. Linda wiped her face. "After the letter." "What letter?" "The one that said you were missing too long," she said. "They told us to prepare." "I wrote every month," I said. "From Every base. She looked down. We told ourselves the letters were old. I nodded. That was easier, Ethan asked. Why didn't you come home sooner? I tried, I said. They sent me where I was needed. Mark scoffed. Always excuses. I looked at him. You slept in my room? He stiffened. That's irrelevant. You wore my jacket, I said. I saw it. Linda whispered. We donated your things. Except what paid for this house, I said. Mark stepped forward. Careful. I smiled without warmth. I learned that overseas. Claire finally looked at me. Will you tell them? I don't have to, I said. Truth has a way of walking in. Linda said, what do you want? I answered honestly. Nothing, Ethan whispered. That's worse. Open the gate. Take care of each other. Mark muttered, don't come back. I replied, I wasn't planning. 2. I kept walking, counting breaths instead of memories. Cars passed. Lights flickered on. Somewhere behind me, they were still standing in that hallway, trying to decide who was wrong. I already knew. The war taught me one clean rule. Survive, then choose what you carry. I chose my name, my silence, and my future. Tomorrow I would find work. I would find help. Tonight, I let the cold air burn my lungs and remind me I was alive. That was enough. I didn't need forgiveness, permission, or proof anymore. Only distance, time, the steady belief that walking away was not weakness, but survival, finally chosen by me. I never looked back again, ever. I woke up to the sound of traffic and a buzzing light. The motel room smelled like bleach and old smoke. I sat up slowly and said, another day? No one answered. I was getting used to that. At the front desk, the clerk barely looked at me. Same room? Yeah, I said. One more night, she slid the key. Cash only, I know. At work, my supervisor pointed at the floor. You mop. Don't wander. I won't, I said. He watched my limp. You hurt? Old. Injury. Don't slow down. I won't. At physical therapy, the therapist said, push through. I said, I always do. She asked. Army. Yes. She nodded. Figures. That night, I stared at my phone.
I dialed.
I hadn't used in years. Daniel, I said. When he answered silence. Then no way, it's me. Where are you? Still breathing. He laughed. Once, I thought you were gone. So did everyone else. You met at a diner. He stood up fast. You look rough. You should see the other guy, I said. He smiled, then stopped. You okay? I'm standing. He pushed a coffee toward me. Drink, I did. He asked family, I said. They don't recognize me. He cursed under his breath. That bad? They buried me without a body. He leaned back. I heard rumors. About what? Benefits. Paperwork. A missing report. I stared at the table. They used it. He nodded. I figured. I said, I want to walk in there and tear it apart. Daniel asked, and then what? I don't know, revenge or peace? He asked. I didn't answer. He said, I can get you work. Kind. Night security. Quiet. I like quiet. Weeks passed. I worked. I healed. I listened. At night, I heard voices from the past and ignored them. One night, Daniel said, I pulled records. Why? Because you matter. He slid papers over. It listed you missing. Mark signed everything. I laughed without humor. He always liked signing. Daniel said, you can fight this. I know you should. Not ready? He asked. What are you waiting for? It's for them to feel it. That's not peace. I didn't say it was. At the motel, I looked at myself in the mirror. You're still here, I said. My phone buzzed. A message from Daniel. Call me. I did. He said, you don't owe them. I know you owe yourself. I'm trying. Don't rush, he said. Be smart. I hung up and lay back. The ceiling fan rattled. I counted breaths. I remembered orders. Remembered waiting. In the morning, I signed a longer lease. The clerk said, you staying? Yes, I said. For now, at work, the The supervisor nodded. You're steady. I am. Daniel met me again. You've changed. I'm learning. He smiled. Good. I asked, what would you do? He said, I'd build first. I nodded. That's the plan. I folded the papers and put them away. Not gone, just waiting. I walked outside and felt the sun. I said quietly, I exist this time. I believed it. I stepped into Rachel's office. The smell of coffee and papers sharp in the air. You found something? I asked. I did, she said, sliding a stack of papers across the desk. Mark's signatures aren't just sloppy, they're illegal. I raised an eyebrow. Illegal how? Embezzlement, she said bluntly. Falsifying death benefits? Misreporting funds? Using your name for personal gain? I leaned back. He really thought he could hide it forever. People always do, Rachel said, till someone notices. I noticed, I said, tapping the table. And I'm here. She nodded. Good. That's step 1. Step 2 is correcting your records officially. We notify the army. We freeze accounts. Letters go out. Everything documented. I let the words sink in. And my family? They'll feel it, she said. Matter of fact. But it's not about punishment. It's about justice. I rubbed my jaw. They'll panic. Exactly, Rachel said. Now, how do you want to handle the confrontation? I smiled. Faintly, controlled, calm, devastating. She raised an eyebrow. I like your style. Days passed. Notices arrived. Counts froze. Letters landed in mailboxes. My family realized I wasn't missing. Mark called the house repeatedly. Linda cried the first time I heard her voice through the letter. We didn't know what to do. I whispered, you didn't do what was right. Ethan answered a different letter. Dad said I interrupted. Dad said a lot. Doesn't change facts. Claire's handwriting shook on the page. I'm sorry. I read it twice. It's late for that. Mark's phone rang. Who's calling now? I let it ring. He left a voicemail. You don't understand the situation. I replied, text only. I understand enough. Rachel looked over my shoulder. You're handling this well. I survived worse, I said. This is paperwork. You're calm, she said. To calm for them. That night, I called Ethan. Did you know the benefits weren't mine? I thought it was normal, he said. I didn't question it. You should have, I said. Blind obedience doesn't excuse complicity. His voice faltered. I just didn't. No. Now you know, I said softly, and that's what matters. Claire called next. I tried stopping them, she said. I warned you'd come back. I know, I said. And I forgive you for trying. You forgive them? She asked. No, I said. Selective forgiveness. Not for them. For me, Linda's letter arrived next. We're scared. I wrote back. Good. You should be. You need to feel the weight of truth before it destroys more than money. Mark finally emailed. This is extortion, I typed. It's called consequences. Learn the difference. The house went quiet for a day. Then Mark called. You think this proves? Anything. I know it proves everything, I said. I didn't come back to punish you. I came back because I survived, and survival changes people. He laughed nervously. You don't scare me. I don't need to, I said. Do that yourself, Linda whispered during a call with me. We never meant you meant, I corrected.
And you acted.
Ethan said. I can explain, don't, I said. Explanations won't fix what's done, Claire whispered. I'm sorry for letting it happen. I accept that, I said. Your apology is noted. Your guilt is yours to carry. Mark screamed once over the line. You're ruining everything. Is everything you built on lies? I asked. No, I'm restoring reality. Rachel leaned in. They're unraveling. I see it, I said, and let it calmly. Mark called again. This isn't legal. It is, I said. Your actions were illegal. Consequences follow. Linda sobbed quietly. We're family, I said. Family doesn't cover theft, doesn't erase deception. Survival isn't about forgiving lies, Ethan whispered. Will it ever end? It ends when you face it, I said. When truth walks through your door and you can't hide, Claire said softly. I never thought I'd see this day. Neither did I said. But here it is. Mark's voice cracked. Can't take this from me. It's not mine to take, I said. It's yours to face. Rachel smiled faintly. You're in control, emotionally steady. I've learned patience, I said. Patience and timing beat anger every time, Linda whispered. I don't. Know if we can forgive you. You don't have to, I said. I didn't come back for forgiveness. I don't know how to live with this, Ethan said. You'll learn, I said. We all learn. Slowly, Claire said, Do you hate us? No, I said. I hate what you did, but hate is useless. Mark shouted one last time. You'll regret this. I'll regret nothing, I said. I walk away knowing the truth is known, justice is served, and I survived. Rachel packed her bag. You're ready? I am, I said. For the first time, fully ready. I hung up, closed my eyes, and breathed. The power shift wasn't flashy. It was silent, devastating. They'd felt it in papers, letters, and nerves, not in yelling or fists. Karma didn't need my voice. It waited, slowly, methodically, perfectly timed. And I stayed calm, steady, complete. For the first time since returning, I felt unshakable. I survived, I controlled, and I walked the line of vengeance and justice. Without stepping over, I left Rachel's office, knowing they would never rebuild what they had built on lies. I was finally free to rebuild myself. I walked into the office where Rachel and Daniel were waiting. It's done, I said. Rachel nodded. Mark's been served. Court date set. Everything documented. I smiled faintly. Finally, Daniel leaned back. He's good, doesn't? It feels empty, I admitted. Not satisfying, just final. Rachel said, That's healthy. Revenge rarely satisfies. Justice does. I get it, I said. It's just, they can't fix what they broke. They'll have to live with it, Daniel said. Silence, shame, consequences. That's all. I rubbed my hands together. I get to leave it behind. Smiled, exactly. Later, I called my mother. Linda, I said. Her voice cracked. I don't know what to say. You don't have to, I said calmly. I need honesty, not excuses. I'm sorry, she whispered. No, I said. And that's enough for me. Are you mad? She asked. Mad doesn't fix anything, I said. I'm done being angry. I survived. I want to see you, she said quietly. I'll see you, I said. But not as the same son. As someone who chooses himself first. I understand, she said. I hung up and called Ethan. You've seen the letters, the accounts, I said. Yes, he said. I don't explain, I said. Just listen. You need to learn from this, not justify it. I will, he said. I really will, Claire answered next. I wanted to apologize properly. I know, I said. I accept it. Not for you, but for me. Carry your guilt. Release your excuses, she sniffled. You're stronger than I imagined. I had to be, I said. You don't survive this life any other way. I drove to their neighborhood quietly, keeping the windows up. I didn't knock. I didn't announce myself. I parked down the street and watched. Mark came out, pacing. You think this ends well? He muttered to Linda. I texted him. It already ended the day you chose lies over family. He read it and threw the phone onto the table. You can't do this, I called Rachel. He's panicking, I said. He should, she said, legally. Morally, emotionally, he's exposed. I smiled faintly. Good, let him feel it. I sat on a bench nearby and watched the house. Linda cried openly in the doorway. Ethan hung his head. Claire paced nervously. I said quietly, let them feel the weight. Let them see the truth they buried. Daniel appeared beside me. You're sure you want to leave? Yes, I said. This town, this house, this history, I'm done. Your family? He asked. They tried to live without me, I said. Now they have to live with me gone, too. Rachel joined. Us. Your path is forward, she said. not backward. I know, I said. I called Linda one last time. Take care of each other, I said. You're leaving? She asked. I am, I said. It's survival. I needed honesty to heal. I have it, Ethan whispered. Will you ever come back? No, I said. The man I was is gone. The man I became doesn't need this door to open, Claire said softly. I'll never forget this. Good, I said. Neither will I. Memories are lessons, not anchors. Mark's voice cracked. Over a call, you ruined everything. I restored everything, I said. You just built it on sand, he shouted, but I didn't flinch. I never flinch anymore. I packed my things, my bags light with only essentials. My scars, my lessons, my survival, everything else stays behind. Daniel handed me a folder. Job offer, he said. Out of state, good pay, quiet, starts next week. Take it, I said. Time to move forward. Rachel said, remember, you earned this. Don't look back. I nodded. I won't. I drove away slowly, the road empty and open. The sun dipped low, burning gold across the horizon. I whispered to myself, I walk away whole. Traffic. Past, lights flickered, houses blurred. I thought about my mother, my siblings, Mark, Claire, Ethan. Their voices haunted me for a moment, then faded. I remembered what Rachel said. Justice doesn't need noise. Karma doesn't shout. I repeated it quietly. Karma waits. I waited, and I survived. Daniel called. Feeling okay? I feel ready, I said. For the first time, fully ready. He laughed softly. You earned it. I smiled faintly. I know, no one gave it to me. The town disappeared behind me. The air smelled of rain and asphalt. I looked forward. New life, I whispered. I earned you. Tarry only what matters. Truth, survival, and myself. Rachel texted, proud of you. I stared at the road. Thanks, I whispered. I needed. That, I drove into the night, the past shrinking behind me. I didn't need anyone to open doors anymore. Didn't need forgiveness, apologies, or approval. The man I was, the man they lost, made room for the man I became. And that man was free. I let the hum of the tires and the quiet wind fill my ears. I let the road teach me patience and distance. I let myself breathe. For the first time in years, I felt whole. I smiled faintly, quietly, and whispered, I survived. I walk alone, and I am enough. The horizon ahead burned bright orange. The road stretched on endlessly. My heart didn't pound. My hands were steady. My mind clear. I drove on, leaving the house, the family, the lies, and the broken doors behind. The past was a lesson, not a cage. I was free, unshakable, alive, and finally entirely whole.